Welcome to another episode of the Dental Insiders with your host, Michael Dunn and Matthew Petchel. Dental Insiders is a podcast for dentists, dental team members, and industry professionals. We'll share stories and lessons from clinicians, industry visionaries with the goal of providing an entertaining and informative look at the industry we share. Our guest today is Kandra Sellers, who is many things. She's a hygienist, an executive coach, and a managing partner with Fortune Management of Chicago. Welcome, Kandra.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure. I'm glad you reached out to me, and I'm glad to be here today.
Yeah, this is so exciting that we get to talk to so many different people. I just had to, that just occurred to me.
You were overwhelmed.
It erupted because
warmness.
Because the variety and different backgrounds of guests that we have, I think, just make for me personally such a rewarding experience.
If you weren't hosting this, you would be listening to it. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So you're saying the people who don't listen to this aren't smart people?
I think that, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
we can say that because those people aren't.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
They are despicable people. Anyway, your background is really interesting, and you do so many different things, and we want to try to touch on all of them. We probably could do a podcast on all of your things, all of your jobs, I guess you'd call them. I'm guessing you don't call them jobs because you don't see things like that. So tell us, let's start at the beginning. How did you get started? I guess you started as a hygienist.
Yeah, I've been in the dental industry for 23 years, so now I'm dating myself, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, but that's good and bad. I started 23 years ago, and I have had many different roles. I've had many doors open, and I've taken every opportunity I can to grow my profession.
That's great.
So when you were in hygiene, what were some of the things that, that I say when you were in hygiene, you're still in hygiene, but as when you first started practicing as a hygienist, what were some of the things you enjoyed most? For me, it was really creating relationships, strong relationships with my patients and my team members. I think that's the key to anything in life, and what really fills me up and makes me passionate about what I do. I was very fortunate to have great mentors right out of hygiene school, which I learned a lot from. And, being able to improve the whole oral systemic balance that we're trying to connect now is really powerful for me. And we really have an opportunity to save lives. And that's super exciting. And all of my volunteering experience too. I volunteered in the Caribbean, which was a phenomenal opportunity. I volunteer now significantly with the Oral Cancer Foundation, which we have our big walk run coming up this weekend. So we're hoping for no rain and some nice sunshine.
All right.
And Team Smiles. Wherever I can volunteer and give back, I love doing that.
So 23 years ago was kind of I don't want to say it was the dark ages for hygiene, but seems like it's come so far in that period of time. So tell us what's changed, and tell us why it's changed and where it's going.
I feel back then there was really, the mouth and the body were totally disconnected. And there was talk about this link of the oral health and maybe cardio, and then that kind of went away, and that's not a connection. And way back in the 1900s, early 1900s, the Mayo brothers even said that the mouth was the gateway to our overall systemic health. So I'm not really sure why we have had such a slow start and why dentists haven't embraced this concept and idea. I worked with mainly specialists in my career, being right out of school with the prosthodontist. So I saw oral cancer at its worst. And then I fell in love with perio. So I went to work with the periodontist and saw, the worst cases that should have been brought to us long before they were ever brought to us. By the time we saw them, they were losing teeth, which was really sad. And the whole mindset of that has completely changed. We're doing surgical procedures that were never done before, that have gotten easier, that have gotten better, and there's no reason why people shouldn't retain their teeth for a lifetime.
Right.
Right. So you're a practicing hygienist.
Mm-hmm.
How did you and these days you're more you're working more as an executive coach and practice management coach. How did you make the transition from clinical practice into being a coach?
You know, I did a lot of different things. When I look at my 23 years, but I guess that gives me time to do a lot of different things, right? And I started out with those specialists, and I just learned anything and everything I could. I was just a sponge, and fortunately they were all great mentors and wanted to teach more. And so it started with that and really a passion, because originally I was an architect major in college. So, you know, go figure, rebuilding mouths, right?
Right.
So, you know, I did that, and I started getting asked to mentor other hygienists and doctors, really asking me a lot more questions about what I do. And I became a sales rep, a territory sales rep for a company that really was the start of soft tissue management. And it fit perfectly with where I was at, because I loved perio, and now I could take it and try to teach other practices how to do it better, because there's such a lack in that. And unfortunately, that's one thing that hasn't changed in dentistry. There's still a lack of knowledge and understanding and treatment of periodontal disease, which is really sad to me. I then started my own temporary hygiene service, because I got to develop a lot of great relationships with dentists who were always, you know, trying to recruit me to come work for them. And because I knew I could increase their bottom line and give their patients extraordinary care.
Right.
And, you know, that's kind of how it all took off. I ended up ending my career in Minnesota because of a corporate move that my husband had to make to Chicago. So we moved here 5 years ago. And at that point, it was like, you know, what am I going to do with my life? I had been in a bad ski accident, and practicing clinical hygiene was no longer a big option for me. So my last hygiene job that I worked at was a fortune management practice. And I had always told my husband, you know, I wish I would have found that practice 20 years ago, because it was phenomenal.
Right.
Everybody was on the same page. Everybody worked as hard as the other person. The culture was amazing. And it was a great way to kind of end that full-time clinical career, I guess you could say.
So
you know,
so every dentist, every practice needs a great hygienist. We know that.
We know that.
Hard to find, but
we know that.
we know that. Does every practice and every dentist need a good coach?
They do. I feel they do.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think people in general just need a good coach. I mean, I still have a coach. I am a coach, but I have my own coaches too.
Would you coach us right now, please?
No. I think that might take too long.
Yeah, that would take
a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah,
now.
that would take.
Yeah, you know,
That.
you know, I do believe that most dentists do need a good coach. You know, when we look at how, and I can speak for myself, even in hygiene school, you learn nothing about business. You spend very little time about how do you build a business. Yet, you know, they're graduating all these dentists, and they're coming out and they have no clue what they're doing. They're buying practices. They have no idea what they're doing. And, you know, some of them even get, you know, their practices taken away because they can't pay the bills. They can't pay the bank. Plus they have, you know, $300,000 in debt coming out of dental school. And that's kind of an average, $300,000 to $400,000. So, you know, they're now vested in about $1 million. And how do they manage that? And how do they manage people and a team and a culture? And they get overwhelmed. So the smart ones come to us early on and say, help me, you know, I need help. I'm underwater. So there's a difference between a coach and a consultant, because I get called a consultant a lot of times. And there are times that I do have to wear that hat, but a consultant will come in and tell you really what to do, give you all the systems, protocols, and here it is. It's a little bit more of a cookie cutter approach. Coaching is not that. Coaching is really getting people clear on their vision, on their what they want personally and professionally for their life, for their family, and really asking a lot of great questions to get them to that point. Really get them thinking differently of how they want to achieve their goals, and what they want to have. And a coach will ask them and challenge their limiting beliefs, ask them great questions, hold them accountable to where they want to be, where their vision is. And that's really the difference between a coach and a consultant. It's no different than if you're going to go to the gym and you want to lose 50 pounds. That coach is going to kick you in the rear every once in a while to keep you on track. And so that's an easy analogy, I guess everybody can relate to.
Right.
We develop great relationships with our coaches, or as a coach and client relationship, and we're their best advocate.
So in a very scary world, young Matthew here is a dentist,
Mm-hmm.
and he needs a coach. He recognizes that he needs a coach.
Need a coach.
How does he go about finding a coach? What does he need to look for?
Well, I think that you need to find somebody that you can truly trust, and that that you can build a great relationship with. I think in any relationship you need that, and especially with the coach, if you're going to be giving up your practice to them and allowing them to really help support you, I think that's really important. Is that solid relationship, and allowing us to really help. They'll tell us they dream of these things. Well, we don't want it to just be a dream. We want it to be a reality. But what they do have to know is that we can't want it more than they do.
Right.
They have to want it. They have to be coachable.
And that's true in just about anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I've got kids. I'm assuming you've got kids. You've got no kids.
Right.
You've got dogs, cats.
No.
That you just say yes.
Smart man.
Let's say you have a dog. If that dog doesn't want to, you can't get the dog to do anything. And I'm now making the analogy of my kids. I've got kids and they're all different, 3 of them. And they're all different. And some of them are eager to learn certain things, whether it's school or a sport or something like that. And there's some that aren't as into it. And you can't force it. You just can't. You have to live with it. And you can change your dream, or you can change your plan, or you can modify the path, but you can't make somebody want something they don't truly want. I would think honesty is a really big trait that you want, because it's almost like that. Is this, if I were a dentist and I was looking for a coach, and I said, I was going to interview 3 of them and said, so tell me, I'm doing pretty good here, right? And if 2 of them said, yeah, you're doing pretty good. We could probably fix a few things. And then the 3rd one came and said, you're doing almost nothing right. It's almost a miracle you're in business.
Right. Kind of like our podcast.
I would probably be drawn to that 3rd one, because I'd be like, you know what? I obviously need some help because I took the first step. And that
it's that brutal brand of honesty.
I guess maybe I need that.
Yeah, there is that. You have to be honest with them, but I think that comes in that trust and that relationship that you build with them. I mean, you definitely have to build that rapport. That doesn't happen right away.
So you're in practice. You're in practices all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So and the guilty shall remain nameless. But I see some crazy stuff. What's some of the? What are people? What are the crazy things that you're seeing going on in practices?
I'll give you a couple scenarios that I've seen that blow my mind, and you, even not being dental people, will probably be astounded. So, and my husband being in business, he's the business guy. I'm the clinical hygienist. So, he doesn't look at things the same way that I do, but we went in to do an observation at a practice, and they had a patient in the chair. They had a night guard. They took the night guard, put it in the ultrasonic bath. The ultrasonic bath is where all the dirty instruments go from all the patients from all day, right? They put it in this ultrasonic in no barrier. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Gross?
Mm-hmm. Not liking it.
Take it out. Take a dirty toothbrush that was sitting in the sink, the dirty, unsterile sink, brush it off, and insert it into the patient's mouth.
No.
I about fell off my chair.
What year is this?
I'm freaking out at this point. My husband's like, settle down, settle down. I'm like, no, this is not a practice I want to work with.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'm seeing them, you know, they've got dirty gloves on and they're touching everything. And there's blood on the chairs and that.
Oh.
So I have one of those, I have one of those honest conversations with the doctor, you know, and she's of course like, you know, go take care of my staff. My staff is the problem, not me. And I'm thinking, you know, poor leader. Needless to say, we tried to make some changes there, but ended up letting them go.
Yes, you know,
ethically, that's not something I want to be involved in.
Well, as from a patient perspective,
scary.
The bloody chair is kind of walk away. Yeah.
I just got two good business ideas. The first came a little while ago, and I didn't say anything, but it's a dentist that also does CrossFit.
Yes.
So you could do both.
Right,
you can come in and
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, it's probably bad. But the second one's better. Second one is, you know how like when you go into a restaurant and there's like the restaurant score?
Yes.
I think they should have that in dental practices. I think the health department should go into dental practices and give a rating and say, do they do that?
That's the problem. There is nobody out there policing this stuff. Nobody. And
you got a gun.
Now there is.
You can actually call, you know, the department of, you know, your dental association, and nobody goes in and checks on these dental practices. Now, when you go into a restaurant, there's people going in there and checking to make sure things are safe and kosher, right?
Right. Yeah.
But here we are working in blood, saliva, bodily fluids, and nobody is. There are standards and protocols, but people are doing whatever the hell they want.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, we're not going to get caught. What the heck? It's cheaper.
It's cheaper to never, deal with it later if it ever came up, which it won't. Who would do that? Would this, is the health department?
Or the state dental board? I'm not sure.
Nobody is.
Well, and OSHA, you know,
I
mean, and that's the thing. They're supposed to take OSHA training. They're supposed to take, you know, all of these trainings, but most of them are not.
Right.
And here's where I see a big gap too. Coming from a state of Minnesota that's very progressive, your hygienists and dental assistants have to have a education. And now we live in Chicago, we live in Illinois, and we have surrounding us, you know, we have clients in Indiana and Michigan as well. And in those states, you don't have to have a license as an assistant. So your training is only as good as the person that trained you.
Right.
Which is probably zero. They were probably picked off the street because they were inexpensive employees.
Right.
Yeah.
And if nobody taught them how to do it properly, and this practice I'm talking about was in Michigan, you know, if nobody taught them how to do it the right way, they don't know what they don't know. They don't even know the ramifications and the infections that they're probably, you know, giving to these patients.
Right. Wow.
So you know, to me, that's insane that we're in this profession and you don't have to have a degree. And there's actually a couple of states as a dental hygienist, you don't have to go to college.
Wow.
Quite honestly, I don't want somebody picking around in my mouth with any sharp instruments that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I remember the very first day that I picked up a sharp instrument in hygiene school, and it was scary.
Yeah,
and there was
I do enough on my own.
There was people in my class I knew for sure I didn't want them practicing on me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You knew the really rough ones.
Yeah.
So we have dentists out there listening, and you know, aside from, you know, making sure there's no blood on the chair, what advice, you know, what's the dentists out there listening? What should they go out and do? What's one piece of advice you could share?
You know, there's so many things. I mean, having a good coach and somebody that has your back at all times, and really helps you become a great leader is what's going to make you successful. Investing in your practice and your people, your practice will organically grow. And being really crystal clear on what your vision is. What do you want? If you're just sitting there looking at the numbers day to day to see if hopefully at the end of the month you're in the green, that's not a good strategy. You've got to have strategy no matter what where you are in your profession, whether you're looking for an exit strategy. And we see a lot of doctors who worked for 30 years in their practice and it's not worth anything.
Right.
How sad is that?
Yeah.
Because they don't have an exit strategy. They never thought about it. They've just been going day by day, hoping it all works out. And, now their practice isn't worth anything and they're retiring on peanuts.
Yeah.
So that's sad. It's really sad to me to see that happen.
And it happens quite a bit. What's the best piece of advice Tony Robbins has ever given you?
Oh, gosh.
And I'm asking that obviously because Tony Robbins is somehow involved in fortune management. He either started it or he's still involved, isn't he?
Yeah. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary, Fortune Management did, and Tony Robbins was one of those founders. He still is involved. He's an amazing person to have as part of this company, without a doubt. Yeah. I attended his UPW that was here in Chicago in July, and they say life will never be the same, and it is true. It's very, very true. When you can walk across 2,000-degree coals and have that kind of state management, there's nothing in your life that you can't accomplish.
Yeah.
And I think the other coined term that I use a lot with my teams is CANI, which is continuous and never-ending improvement. I think that's in any profession. Otherwise, it's mundane. It's boring.
Right.
Why be in it? If you're just doing it as it's a job, what's the point?
I like that. Continuous and never-ending
improvement.
We should write a book about it. I'll bet you Tony Robbins has a book where he's probably talked about it, and we can just take some of those ideas and we'll make it.
But you know what we should do maybe before that?
Is this microphone on?
What we should do before that is maybe adopt that sort of philosophy for the Dental Insiders podcast.
My last comment is it's ironic you brought up the hot coals thing, because I know why Tony Robbins can walk across hot coals that are 2,000 degrees is because when he speaks, he keeps the room at 60 degrees.
Exactly.
So I'm pretty sure his core body temperature is 60 degrees all the time, and he could probably walk across a mile of coals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been to one of his programs? It sounds like you have if you've gotten that cold.
not specifically one of his programs. He spoke though at an industry event. He spoke at the big CEREC 30 event last fall.
Last September. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there at that, and powerful, man, just powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Continuous and never-ending improvement. We got it.
I'm getting a tattoo later today.
Well, I can't wait how that works out for you.
Take management for that one, because that's painful.
Yeah. So you know what? I think that's going to wrap it up for another episode of the Dental Insider. So we'd like to thank our guest, Kandra Sellers, for joining us. And of course, our beautiful audience, thank you for spending some time with us. And join us next time and tell your friends and colleagues about Dental Insiders. Thank you.
Thanks, Kandra.
Thank you.